RÉALISÉ has announced his candidacy for the 2018 presidential elections in Cameroon. The political activist made the announcement today in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. We shall be giving you more in this edition of the news. A state of emergency has been declared in the city of Baltimore, in the state of Maryland, United States of America, after a black was killed by white policemen. We shall be giving you details in this edition of the news. A one-week curfew has been announced in that city in the US of A. Details coming up next. Good evening and thanks for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television. One presidential candidate for the 2018 presidential elections is already known. Enome Omese told Equinox Television after his release from prison that come 2018 he is going to sit at the Unity Palace. Roland Akon tells us more.
Enome Omese has declared his intention to stand as candidate in the 2018 presidential election in Cameroon.
Il faut qu'en 2018, je puisse déposer une candidature pour la présidentielle. Voilà des grands projets.
In an exclusive interview on Equinox, the writer and activist released from the Yaoundé Central Prison Monday also announced his publication soon of a book on the injustice of justice in Cameroon.
Je continue à écrire des livres. Il y a un livre que je vais écrire, que j'ai commencé d'ailleurs, que j'ai intitulé « L'injustice de la justice au Cameroun ». Je vais finir ce livre.
Omese, released after 40 months in the Yaoundé Central Prison, has expressed regrets over the poor conditions of detention in the Yaoundé Central Prison. He laments over the conditions of minors, that some of them leave the Yaoundé Central Prison as hardened criminals who have gone through bad experiences like homosexuality, drug abuse, to name but these few. Omese says he's going to continue sojourning the world, granting conferences, seminars and colloquiums as he was doing before his arrest last November 2011.
Bon, dans l'immédiat, il y a beaucoup d'invitations sur le plan international. Les écrivains m'invitent et tout. Je vais y aller pour dans des conférences, participer à des colloques, des choses comme ça, des séminaires. Voilà ce que je vais faire.
Now, taking back their dignity and respect from FACO administration was at the center of discussion of the first FACO Lawyers General Assembly meeting that took place in the Southwest region, precisely in Boya. The assembly was also to prepare lawyers ahead of the upcoming common law lawyers meeting that will be taking place in Bamenda, that's the northwest region of Cameroon. And the first General Assembly of FACLA, FACO Lawyers Association, took place under the chairmanship of the newly elected President, Barrister Agbo Nkongo. Scores of young women have been schooled on the use of information communication technologies in solving problems in their communities. Roland Akon tells us in the following report that the initiative in Yaoundé seeks to empower young women on ICTs. His report.
These young women are not just users of technology, but future innovators. The young women are creating solutions to issues in their communities through designing and programming a mobile application.
The main use of our app is to solve the main problems encountered by agriculture in Cameroon. App Soil Care gives information on the location and the different types of soil in Cameroon, particular plants which grow on each type, which suits each type of soil, the diseases that are liable to attack each plant grown on the particular soil type, and also the types of fertilizers that can be applied on the soil without damaging it.
We took the name Freetor because we want people to express themselves freely without being scared by anybody, without being judged. The only thing you have to do is to sign up with the application and it's okay. You can have the application on your mobile phone.
The Technovation Initiative seeks to promote women in technology by giving them the confidence and skill they need to succeed in computer science and entrepreneurship.
Every time we don't want only to have engineer for our board creating application. We need also our engineer, young girl, Cameroonian young girl, to have an idea, innovation idea, and be the one to be innovate in the technology domain.
The basic skills learned will enable the young women understand the opportunities in technology and entrepreneurship.
And a children's corner has been created at the library of the Bamenda City Council. We are back in the northwest region of Cameroon. The initiative is to enable children from nursery schools and above to develop the spirit of reading. And this is the second library created. The first was that of the Limbe City Council. Jacques Ekwekinge.
It was on the occasion of the celebration of World Book Day 2015 that the NGO Education Information Services International (LCFI) decided to inaugurate the initiative of library services at the Bamenda City Council Library. The initiative that would encourage children, especially the very young ones, to start reading early. The initiative is aimed at equipping some 10 libraries in Cameroon with open door children's corner, where children from the nursery schools right up to Form 3 can cultivate the reading attitude in a more relaxed mode. The Bamenda City Council Open Doors Children's Corner is the second after the launching of the one in Limbe in 2014. Education Information Service International (SFE), which is the brain behind the initiative, have put all hands on deck to make the project a success.
We have already done training for the librarians. They should have the skills to be able to manage and run children. Two from each of the libraries had to be trained necessary skills on how to work with children.
Putting the project to fruition has cost a fortune to the organization, though being supported by the local councils concerned.
This project is running close to 60 million. It's, in actual fact, the library is £60,000. When we look at the training, when we look at the books and everything put.
The launching of the Bamenda City Council Library Open Doors Children's Corner also saw the rewarding of some meritorious pupils and students who took part in educative competition.
The reason why they gave me the prize was because I was the first in essay writing.
Sacred College Mancon. I was given this award for being the third in the essay competition from 1.
Created in 2007, Education Information Service International (SFE) has worked to empower communities and support library initiatives across Cameroon as an input to knowledge information and skills acquisition.
Now, back in the little region, some laborers at the Bonamusa Didas in the economic capital Douala facing tough times due to lack or limited customers. A majority of them who gathered at Carrefour Masson awaited to be awarded contracts say even experience is not a guarantee to have a job. They are, however, confident of getting a better job tomorrow. Mimimefo report that it is on the wake of celebration of the 129th edition of the International Day set aside for labor. Her report.
Kenfa Roger is one of the laborers of Carrefour Masson in Bonamusadi, being hired to work in building construction sites. He comes to this roundabout every morning and, as usual, accompanied by his wallet which contains his working equipments. Bricklaying has been his profession for over 5 years now, but Mr. Kenfak still admits that they rely on hope to get the customer.
Bon, ça dépend. Il y a des moments où c'est vain.
It depends. Sometimes it takes us a week and even more to get a single client. There are days when we come and return home with 1,000 francs CFA or even 2,000 francs. At times we may be lucky to have a good contract.
Getting
a reliable contract, according to Frédéric Temgoa, is based on past relations. An old client might maintain them as permanent laborer in their building construction sites, depending on the cordial ties between the two. Most of these laborers are here because better opportunities have not come by. Fussel Alex told us that his constant search for greener pastures have never yielded any fruits. He explains that good construction companies are not ready to offer them a job, and that those who manage to do so offer them little pay. As they brace to join their counterparts nationwide to celebrate Labour's Day May 1st, their prime hope is that things might get better in few years to come.
And life continues. Now, a Cameroon-based non-governmental organization has denounced the growing rate of mortality among children involved in road accidents. The Safeway Right Way Foundation, in a press conference in Douala, revealed that road accident is the second cause of death of children between 5 to 29 years in the country. We'll now take you to news out of Cameroon. Thousands of troops and police officers have been deployed to the U.S. city of Baltimore following violent protests linked to the death of a black man fatally injured in a police custody. And some blacks have blocked major streets, set vehicles on fire as late Frederick Gay was being buried. A week-long curfew has been announced in the city of Baltimore in Maryland. Details with the DWTV.
Mayhem on the streets of Baltimore as anti-police protests turn violent, the eruption of pent-up frustration among the city's black youth. Rioters vandalized businesses, looted shops, pharmacies, and liquor stores as the city descended into chaos.
It's not a war, we want peace, but y'all gotta give us that. If y'all keep coming and taking everything we got, we gonna take what y'all got. We not playing out here. This is not a war, but we want our rights.
The epicenter of the violence is West Baltimore, a predominantly black neighborhood struggling with high unemployment and high crime rates. For years, people here have been complaining of racial discrimination and excessive brutality by white police officers. But the city's black mayor showed little sympathy for the rioters.
This is one of our darkest days as a city. And I know that we're much better than this. We know that the world is watching, and we cannot allow our city to devolve into chaos because of a small group of criminals.
It was the latest flare-up over the death of Freddie Gray. The protests began after his funeral yesterday. The 25-year-old black man was arrested on April 12th and died from a spinal injury while in police custody. Witnesses say he told police he had asthma and couldn't breathe. Gray's death is the latest of several high-profile cases, beginning with the shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson last year that have fueled racial tensions across the nation. To many here, his death is seen as further proof that black lives don't matter.
And still in news out of the country, the death toll in Naples' 7.8 magnitude quake has now risen to 5,000, and officials say it could even reach 10,000 on day 3 of rescue operation. Heavy downpour and congestion at the Kathmandu airport hampered foreign aid. The DWTV once more.
People are sheltering however they can. Kathmandu has now been hit by heavy rain, making life even worse for those left homeless by the earthquake. Many are afraid to stay indoors for fear of aftershocks. Others simply don't have houses to go to, a lack of provisions.
About 100 people over here. We don't have food, water supply, everything.
The UN says around 8 million people have been affected by the quake, nearly a third of all Nepalese. Around 1.5 million need food aid. Help is arriving, but Kathmandu's airport has become congested and chaotic as international rescue teams and aid come in. There's barely enough capacity to deal with incoming planes. At the same time, more and more people are trying to leave. Many migrant workers want to go back to their hometowns and villages, hoping to be reunited with family. People are scrambling to get onto buses leaving the city.
Everyone is worried, everyone is depressed. People don't know how they'll get home safely. That's why everyone is here. We're trying to get home.
Meanwhile, Indian Army helicopters are picking up injured people from remote areas, among them a Dutch mountain climber.
I've been so scared. And the whole night we had these shakes. And the whole night you felt these rocks coming down. It was very, very scary.
Amid the devastation, though, miracles are still happening. A woman has been found alive more than 50 hours after she was buried. But as more bodies are uncovered, the death toll continues to rise.
And the head of state, Paul Biya, sent his condolences today to his Nepalese counterparts. And from there we talk brief note in sport. Private and state universities will have to wait for another 3 weeks before the kickoff of the 2015 All-Varsity Games. The games, which were supposed to begin this weekend in the University of Yaoundé 1, have been postponed to May 23rd due to National Day celebration, according to officials. But reports on the ground say Yaoundé 1 may not be prepared infrastructure-wise, as some sites are still under construction. The postponement means schools will have to spend more than previewed in block training, thus altering their respective calendars. They're taking us to the second segment of this newscast. We shall be talking sports just right ahead. Officials at the Cameroon Football Federation, as well as others, began scanning the text of the FECAFOOT, the text as well as the statutes of the federation. Now with us here is a sport analyst who is going to be analyzing FECAFOOT, the saga that began some months back, and to see how a peaceful transition from Iya Mohammed to whosoever takes the post of FECAFOOT. Joining us tonight on Talking Point is Mr. Patrick Taku Agbo. He's a sport analyst. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you.
Today, officials began scanning the text of FECAFOOT. What is your take on that, especially the text, the lines that are being, are under debate?
In actual fact, the nominalization committee has been procrastinating in all its forms and has become a rigmarole. The committee has failed so far to revitalize and regenerate Cameroon football, and we hope this time they will put everything in order to regenerate Cameroon football.
Do you think it is all about text?
It's not all about text. It's about the people, on the financial commitment, the people engaged. My concern is the financial commitment. If you look at the monies that football generates, for instance, when you win the African Nations Cup, the winner earns 300 million francs. When you participate for the FIFA World Cup, the last stage, at the group stage is offered 9 million francs. So 9 billion. So
the problem is not all about text.
Yes, the people there. Cameroonians are good text writers when they want to work the work.
But even though some candidates that were rejected are calling on on the text, some of the articles of the text to be reviewed, so as to permit some of them to go in as candidates.
That is exactly what I'm saying. The texts have been written to outclass certain candidates deliberately. Not that the people nominated, the people working for the nomination committee don't know what they're supposed to do. They practically know what they're supposed to do. But now, certain pragmatic decisions need to be taken to regenerate Cameroon football.
And you think the General Assembly of 2009, which was unanimously chosen to review the text, do you think, are there any differences between 2009 and 13? Because when you look at those who constitute the General Assembly of 2009, you see new faces just about from 10, 12 faces.
They are practically the same members. The 2009 General Assembly and the 2013 General Assembly, practically the same people. So the problem is not the people. The problem is the mentality. Are they ready to work for Cameroon football, or are they ready to work for their pockets? That's a problem.
You've written a book on Cameroon's football. Now, tell us, is it all about money, or what could really be what could be that maggot that is eating deep into Cameroon's football?
Cameroon football had a glorious era when little people knew the exact income that football generates. From the qualifying from the World Cup, the goal project, the FIFA goal project, and the African Nations Cup. By the time many knew that when we qualified for the Nation Cup, we are entitled to 9 billion CFA francs. And now, in Cameroon, there is a system, FIFA, in different countries, like in France and Brazil, the federation support the national teams, A, B, juniors national teams, without taking incentive, subsidies from the state. In most African countries, the state provides the fundings of the national teams. Then when this money comes in, FIFA pay the money to FECAFOOT. Cameroon has participated in the World Cup at 7 editions. We have gone to the National Cup, World Cup 7 times. 7 times, minimally. If we are the last of our group, we have 9 billion CFA francs. That money has been given to FECAFOOT. Just calculate 9 billion CFA francs by 7 qualifications.
So is this the problem?
It's a major problem.
Say that the government has a problem?
No, not the government. The problem. The government don't have any problem there. The government have to oversee the functioning of the financial functioning of the Cameroon Football Federation. But there's a hitch put by FIFA when FIFA said government should not interfere with football. They forget that in most African countries, because of honor, government do subventions, give subsidies to these national teams. And when this money comes in, like money from the FIFA goal project, when they come in, the government don't have any say. So those are the hem of the federation. That people are fighting to be the president in FECAFOOT delegates because they know what they profit. They are not there to work for the interest of the of Cameroonian football.
All right. Now, what could be the way forward as maybe officials watching you now, as they scrutinize the text, to bring out new articles, maybe to ameliorate some,
I think they should. The president of the nomination committee should just be fair and let go all the candidates and take some pragmatic decisions. Not they should keep all this gang, I belong to this group, to this gang aside. We should look forward in rebuilding Cameroon football. We should not, our football can be tamed, but it should not be dragged on the mud. So they should keep all these things aside, put the text. Nobody should be excluded. We go in for the election, from the word go, let all the candidates accept. Let the candidate go in, they accept the text. After the result, everybody should accept the result.
Now, the committee began work today. They are going to end their work latest 2nd of July 2015, while pending elections for September 2015.
September 23rd.
Now, away from that, let's now, before, if Cameroon's football must move forward, you must have good technicians. We're talking about Voke Finke, who is almost on his way out. Any chance for Voke Finke coming back? Because FECAFOOT recently wrote to the presidency divorcing Voke Finke.
It was time. Voke Finke is limited tactically by his blinking approach to football strategies. He was nominated the Lions manager by happenstance, by those who knew what to gain after the contract. Tactically, he went to the World Cup, the Nation Cup. We saw what happened. They created committees, no response. They pinpointed certain players, prioritize them, put them aside of the team. Nothing still happened. So it's time for him to leave.
But if FECAFOOT react too late.
Yes,
after the World Cup,
it was
FECAFOOT.
His contract stipulated that he should be notified 1 month before the termination of his contract. And in actual fact, the contract ought to be terminated by the 24th of May. So if he was not notified, means there's a problem. He was supposed to be notified if the contract was to be terminated 1 month before the 24th of May.
Now, it looks like all roads are blocked for Voke Finke to come back.
We thank God.
And on the seat, Cameroon is going to be playing a friendly against Burkina Faso. And Alexander Bilinga and Bonaventure Jonke are in charge now to select players.
We hope before then the committee should at least nominate or take accept prorogation from the Ministry of Sport. We need a coach. Right. Or they should nominate Jonke just to make him official, even if it's for a short term. It can be for a year or two.
That's your own opinion.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, Mr. Patrick Taku Agbo, in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television.
You're welcome.
And thanks for joining us, televiewers. Have a nice evening in the company of our programs. Good night.